My name's Ariana. I'm 31 in my family. I'm the fixer, the one who shows up with jumper cables, reads the lease before anyone signs, finds the missing W-2 in the junk drawer. I do numbers for a living, controller at a mid-sized logistics company, so everyone assumes I have endless patience and a spreadsheet for every crisis. My cousin grabbed my $12,000 credit card for emergencies. 2 weeks later, he posted, "New drip in Bahamas, baby." I called, and he just said, "Say goodbye to your money bureau." I didn't argue. I just said, "Okay." 2 weeks later, he got home from the Bahamas, opened his front door, froze, and just stared at what was waiting in the middle of the living room. I grew up in a two-bedroom apartment over my tio's bodega. My parents worked nights. I learned early to make things stretch. Rice, Wi-Fi, passwords, paychecks. I'm the oldest cousin and the first to finish college. That sounds like a crown. Most days, it's a target. If there's a family emergency, it gets routed to me. The cousin I used to babysit is now 27 and calls himself LJ. Government name Lou Louis Javier. He's funny, charming, and allergic to AW2. He sells sneakers, does content, flips used iPhones he swears are refurbished. He'll FaceTime from the trunk of a borrowed car with 5 boxes of Yeezys and a ring light clipped to the sun visor. He'll say, "'Cause I'm 2 plays away from changing the game." He's been 2 plays away since high school. Sunday night, family dinner at my Tio Rose's. The usual aluminum trays of arroz con pollo. Cousins yelling over Uno. My aunt's TV fighting the blender. I sat in the corner balancing my plate on my knee, answering my mom's questions about health insurance, nodding at the right times. LJ floated in late, wearing a designer tee and a chain thick enough to tow a car. He saw me and grinned like we shared a private joke. He didn't sit. He just leaned on the doorframe, letting everyone look. "Ariana," he said way too loud, "you still got that emergency card, right?" Heads turned. Forks paused halfway to mouths. My mother blinked. I kept eating. "Why?" I asked. He laughed. "Because emergencies happen." I set my plate down. "What kind of emergency are we talking about?" He raised both hands, palms out. "Relax. You know how it is. Life. Tire blows. Phone dies. Grandma falls. I'm just saying it's smart to keep family covered." My aunt chimed in without looking up from the stove. "You know she hustles. Mojo. She's trying." LJ watched my face. He liked the crowd. He liked performing. When I didn't jump, he stepped closer, voice dropping until it was just for me. He nodded at my wallet on the side table next to the house keys and the bottle opener. "Don't be dramatic, sis," he said softly, smile never leaving. "It's for emergencies." That was the first trigger, and it told me exactly where the night was headed. The thing about being the fixer is people stop seeing you as a person. You become a service, a number on speed dial, a debit card with legs. It started small years ago, bus fare until Friday. Then, "Can you spot me for Uber? I left my wallet." Then deposits for apartments he never moved into, sneakers that were as good as cash. People in my family talk about money like it's a beach ball. It always seems to be in the air, and somehow it's always my job to keep it from hitting the floor. The card they all mean when they say emergency card is a separate credit line I opened after my dad's diabetes scare. $12,000 limit. I kept it in a little metal case in my console. It's for actual emergencies, like the time I used it to pay for Abua's dental work because her insurance decided a mouth was a luxury. I never told anyone the limit. Someone always guesses. It's a game. 10 grand more? I just shrug. You don't give a room full of people the map to a safe. After dinner, I helped my mom load leftovers into containers. LJ wandered through the kitchen, drumming his fingers on the fridge and laughing at his own texts. When he thought nobody saw, he checked the side table where my wallet had been. He grinned when he saw it was gone because it was in my pocket. We cleaned. We hugged. I walked my mom to her car. When I came back inside for my keys, my aunt pulled me in for a whisper. "You know Louise is going through it," she said. "She's got opportunities. She just needs a little push." I said she had 12 years of pushes. She sighed, the long kind that says you're the disappointment for not being manipulated easily. You have more than her. That line always lands like a slap, not because it's true, but because of what it assumes. That extra means open season. That success equals consent, that I'm a pantry. Later that night, I stopped at my apartment and placed the metal card case on the bookshelf where I keep my keys. Habit. I showered. I fell asleep on the couch with the TV judging me. At 2:11 a.m., my phone buzzed. 3 missed calls from LJ. 1 text. Sis, answer. I didn't. At 2:14, the buzzer rang downstairs. I ignored it. At 2:15, my phone buzzed again. A photo. My hallway. The map that says, please don't. He was outside. I opened the door. He slipped past me like he'd been invited and did a slow lap. Hands out. Nice spot, he said. Adult vibes. What do you want? I asked. He looked at the bookshelf like he lived there. He saw the case. He tapped it with a finger and smiled. Emergencies. You need to go, I said. I've got somebody waiting. Don't make this weird. We're family. I didn't move. He did. Quick. Like he was snatching a fry from my plate. He palmed the case and stepped back. He flashed the car like a magician flashes the Queen of Hearts. Ariana, my voice was flat. It's for emergencies. He was already at the door. I'll bring it back in the morning. I stepped aside. Let him leave. Not because I froze, but because I had learned something about LJ. If you wrestle with him in the hallway at 2:20 a.m., he makes that the story. He drowns you in noise. You become the problem. If you want the truth, you let him talk. He texted me from the elevator. You're a blessing, sis. For real. In the morning, my phone was a slot machine. Missed calls. Sis, call me ASAP. Tiny thing came up. You're the best. Little voice notes with the bass turned up. Him laughing, promising it's temporary. My mother's text at 8:12 a.m. You were rude last night. That's not you. I muted the thread. I did my job. I closed a month-end reconciliation. I drank coffee that tasted like regret. At lunch, I checked his Instagram. Nothing. At 5 p.m., a story popped up. He was in a mall mirror, tongue out, a shopping bag parade behind him, new drip, text overlay, +8 flame emojis. Then at 9:47 p.m., a boomerang, boarding passes, and a passport. Bahamas, baby. I called him. He picked up. Airplane noise. The smile in his voice was a neon sign. What did you say? He sang that we outside? I didn't argue. I just said, okay. You took my emergency card to buy clothes and fly out of the country. He chuckled. Yo, don't be weird. I'll flip a couple pairs there. Reinvest. Double it. Bring it back. You be acting like a bank manager. I am a bank manager, I said, even though it wasn't for me. He sucked his teeth, bored. Then he said it clearly, amused, like I was a child throwing a tantrum. Say goodbye to your money, sis. I didn't argue. I just said, okay. He laughed like I told a joke. Now I was getting it. The call ended. I sat in the dark with my phone face down like it might bite me. I didn't sleep much. I made a list. I called the bank. I listened more than I spoke. I answered questions without adjectives. I froze what needed freezing. I documented everything. I filed a police report and refused to narrate. I didn't tell my mother, my aunt, or the group chat. I took screenshots, flight numbers, shoe boxes, dates, captions. I learned the final digits of the terminals where he swiped. I called the merchants. I asked for receipts shipped to the billing address. I remembered something important. In this country, ownership tracks the payer. 2 days in, my aunt called crying. He said you cut him off in a foreign country. He's your cousin, Ariana. He could be stranded. He's in a resort, I said. The app shows me palm trees. You're cold. I'm consistent. The family group chat tilted. My phone lit up with paragraphs. You forgot where you come from. Money changed you. He said you promised the chorus had verses. I put the phone on Do Not Disturb and made another list. Companies, order numbers, delivery addresses. One name kept repeating. His apartment on 114th, Unit 2B, a 3-story walk-up above a nail salon and a tax place that sells incense. I knew his landlord. We grew up on the same block. When I called, he sighed, the way you sigh when you smell smoke again. Ariana, he asked, what now? Nothing for you to do. I said, just confirming access rules. He told me the super's name. He told me where the building cameras didn't work. He told me he was tired. The next day, a brown box with a computer monitor inside arrived at my door, addressed to me, receipts stapled to the top. I hadn't ordered it. The merchant had flagged the card, checked the billing address, and rerouted. I caught the pattern. Some stuff shipped to him, some to me. Either way, the receipts were mine. I kept everything sealed. I stacked the boxes in my hall like bricks. The last DM he posted from the Bahamas was him in a pool with a frozen drink the color of a highlighter. 30 seconds of him splashing, then lip syncing. If you ain't got no money, better head on home. He cut it before the curse. Classy. On day 13, he didn't post. On day 14, he did. A selfie in airport arrivals. Back to the grind. A shrug emoji like he might go back to work at a job he didn't have. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger is loud and messy. I was something else. Quiet. Clean. I picked up another brown box from my haul. I loaded my car. I drove to 114th. He got home around 3. I know because I was parked across the street listening to a podcast I wasn't hearing. LJ stepped out of the elevator in slides, socks, and a hoodie he didn't own 2 weeks ago. Same chain, same grin for the camera he assumed existed. He dragged his carry-on like it owed him rent. He climbed the stairs to 2B. He opened his door. He froze. I wasn't inside. I wasn't waiting in the dark with dramatic lighting. I'm not a movie villain, but something was waiting in the middle of the living room, a folding card table I'd borrowed from the church rec room. On it, a fat yellow envelope with his name on it, a little disposable camera, and a single pair of scissors. He stood there for a full 3 Mississippi seconds. Then he said to no one, "Nah." He picked up the envelope. Inside, printed receipts with my name in the last 4 digits of the card, a clean list of every purchase he made with dates, times, amounts, screenshots of his stories, a copy of the police report, a letter for me written like a manual, not a poem. LJ's voice came back online as he flipped pages. "Sis," he laughed. He didn't notice me until I cleared my throat from the doorway. The super had buzzed me up when I knocked earlier with a fresh apartment inspection slip. Super knows me. He'd seen me plunge LJ's sink when LJ forgot to tell him the drain was clogged. LJ spun. "Yo, what the hell are you doing in here?" "The super," I said. "You can't just walk into my place." He looked around like maybe his couch would back him up. His couch was gone. He saw it then. The absences assembling into a shape. The coffee table he bought on Tuesday with my card? Gone. The 65-inch TV he'd financed in an unbeatable bundle? Gone. The glass shelves with the neon sign that said, "Hustle harder?" Gone. On the wall where the TV had been, a small white rectangle of unpainted plaster like a tan line. "What did you do?" His voice was thin. I picked up my belongings. "Everything on this list was purchased with my card. Receipts are in your hand. The law calls that a clue." "That's stealing." I pointed at the empty square like it had a pulse. "It's Replevine." I let the words sit between us like a glass of water he didn't want to drink. It means recovery of property. Also, store returns are beautiful things when you still have all the boxes because someone likes to film unboxings. He peeled through papers faster, hunting for a loophole. Okay. No, this trip, you can't take the trip." "Correct," I said. "I can't take back a room you spilled blue slushy in, but the card issuer can reverse travel charges after a fraud report. You want to check your email? The hotel contacted me this morning to ask about the chargeback. They mentioned you smoked on a balcony with a no smoking sign." He was breathing faster now. "You set me up." "You set yourself up," I said. "I just organized your decisions." He slammed the papers on the table hard enough to make the scissors jump. "We're family." "That's not a spell," I said. "When you say it, nothing magical happens to the math." He switched tactics like a man changing radio stations. "I was going to pay you back." "Great news," I said. "You can." The letter on top was the demand. 30 days, itemized minus what was returned. If you don't, we go small claims. I bring these. I tap the stack and the video of him saying, "Say goodbye to your money, sis." His face twitched. "You recorded me?" "No," I said. "You posted it to 4,000 strangers." He stepped closer. He wasn't tall enough to make that a threat. He tried anyway. "You came in my house." "I came in your house with the super," I said. "I took property I can prove I paid for and that you had no right to purchase. The cops who have a copy of this told me to stay civil, so that's what we're doing." He barked a laugh that didn't land anywhere. "You think you're smart?" "I think I'm done," I said. He flipped to the last page. The photo there wasn't of him. It was of my card, cut into clean little squares, laid out like a mosaic on the church table, a timestamp in the corner beneath it. One sentence. Return a physical card completed on X date at X time. L. Javier present. M. Reyes present. Super present to witness cut. He looked at the disposable camera. What's that proof? I said analog in case you delete the cloud. He stared at the empty place where his TV had been. He looked smaller, like someone had turned him down to low power. Then the family script kicked back on. You're petty, he said. You're punishing me because you're mad I get to live. You've always been like this, counting other people's blessings. You scared? I shrugged. If that makes you feel better, you can say it again. He was shaking his head before I finished. Mom's going to lose it. Probably, I said. Let her, he squinted. You think she's going to pick you over me? I'm not asking her to pick, I said. I'm telling you both. I'm not your ATM. He looked back down at the table, back at the envelope, back at me. What if I don't pay? He asked. He tried to make it tough. It just sounded tired. Then you get served, I said. And then the conversation stopped being between cousins. For a second, the smallest second, I saw the kid I used to set up with Mario Kart, the one who cried when his controller cable came loose. Then he blinked, and the armor slammed back into place. Get out of my house, he said. Gladly, I said. Oh, one more thing. I pointed to the scissors. That last strip, cut it yourself. It'll help your brain catch up to the numbers. On my way out, the super nodded once, like a man who had seen all 7 seasons of this show already. The hall smelled like pine, soul, and somebody's dinner. I felt lighter than I had since Sunday night, 2 weeks earlier. Back in my car, my phone lit up with my aunt's name. I let it ring. When she texted, "What did you do?" I didn't answer. I drove home. I put the boxes in a corner. I ordered a pizza. I slept. The group chat exploded in the morning. Caps lock, paragraphs, voice notes. You robbed your cousin. You broke into his house. You're sick. LJ posted a story of his empty wall with the caption, L Family Vibes. A few of his friends reshared it with clown emojis. I didn't respond in the chat. I wrote an email. Subject line, notice of unauthorized use and demand for payment. I CC'd myself, my cousin, and my aunt. I attached the list, the police report number, the dates. I used words like mitigate and cure in 30 days. I invited them to reply in writing only. My aunt called my mother. My mother called me. Ariana, she said without hello, breath tight. You went too far. He used my card for a vacation, I said. That's an emergency, she said. What part of the Bahamas is the emergency? The ocean or the buffet? She was quiet long enough I could hear my own heart. Then she tried another door. He's not like you. He doesn't understand. That's the last time I'll accept that excuse from anyone, I huffed. You used to be so sweet. I'm still kind, I said. I'm just not available. 2 days later, my aunt left me a voicemail in tears. He doesn't even have a TV now, Ariana. How is he supposed to relax? He's so stressed. I didn't call back. I finished assembling my returns for the items that were still sealed. The electronics store took back the monitor with a restocking fee. The soundbar was a no-go. He'd opened it and lost the plastic bag for the screws. Fine. I listed it for sale and told the buyer to bring cash. I set fraud alerts on my credit. I put a freeze on my reports. I changed my bank passwords. I paid the remaining disputed balance in full because I wasn't going to let LJ's emergency become interest. I paid for the privilege of being used. It wasn't a moral victory. It was just done. 3 days after the envelope, a DM popped up from someone I didn't know. Profile pic, a girl at a hookah lounge. Message, hey, not trying to start drama, but your cousin owes me $600 for the Airbnb because he forgot his card. I sent her the same letter with the same 30-day terms, this time tagging him and a reply all. She left me on red. I screenshotted and filed it in a folder named Aggressive Documentation. LJ tried the public performance route for a week. He posted a video of himself on a borrowed couch with the caption, when your family stole your TV, but they're still watching. His friends put crying, laughing emojis in the comments. A couple DM'd me with brave one-liners, L cousin, you weird. I didn't reply. I went to work. I drank water. I slept. On Friday, someone knocked on my door. It was Tasha, my downstairs neighbor. I always say hi to in the laundry room. She held a foil pan. My aunt had made too much lasagna. You good? She asked. I told her the truth. My cousin used my emergency card for a vacation and a shopping spree. I took back the stuff. I was getting sued in a group chat. Tasha blinked once like a cat. Family will invoice your soul and call it love, she said, like she was ordering a coffee. I ate. It tasted like breathing. The following week, my boss pulled me into her office. "You've been quieter," she said, "and faster. Everything is more crisp." I laughed. I stopped doing unpaid work outside of work. "Keep that up," she said. 2 months later, she handed me a promotion and a raise that made my mother cry, for a different reason. One she didn't put words to, so I didn't ask. The family tried a new angle: pity. "He's depressed, Ariana. He can't sleep. He's not eating." I didn't swallow pity shaped like a leash. He texted me once, just once, after the envelope. No hello. No sorry, just, "You returned the wrong soundbar." The other one was nicer. I typed "file a counterclaim." I deleted it. I typed "read page 3." I deleted that too. I put the phone face down and went for a walk. On day 31, right on schedule, I filed in small claims. Clean, boring, itemized. I asked for the remaining balance after returns, plus the filing fee. I stapled photos. I printed his Bahamas baby story large enough for strangers to read. I felt ridiculous and steady at the same time. He was served at my aunt's. She called me in the aisle at Costco, shouting loud enough to rattle the vitamins. "How dare you embarrass us like this? You embarrassed yourselves?" I said, "I just used a printer." 2 days after that, my cousin Selena texted me. Off the record, that was iconic. I said, "I don't want it to be." She sent back a heart anyway. At the hearing, LJ arrived late in slides. He brought a friend who looked like a shadow. He tried jokes. The judge didn't laugh. He tried. "We're family." The judge said, "We're a court." He tried. He broke into my apartment. The super's affidavit on letterhead said otherwise. He tried. He said, "Okay." The judge squinted. "Okay, to what?" LJ felt silent, like someone had turned down his volume with a remote. It wasn't dramatic. It was numbers. The judge granted me the amount plus costs. "You can both leave," she said, which sounded like a blessing. I set up a wage garnishment because he refused to pay voluntarily. "He doesn't have a job," my aunt said. "He had a brand partnership. Turns out even content has payable streams." Slowly, the family group chat changed shape. Not overnight, but the tone shifted. An aunt who'd written, "You forgot where you came from," sent a recipe out of the blue. A cousin who'd clown emojied my boundary asked for help rewriting her resume. I helped her, not with money, with track changes. And LJ? He got quieter. He stopped posting for a while. Then he posted thrift store finds he was flipping. Then he posted the gym. Then a selfie in a new apartment with a wall he'd actually painted himself. He still owed me. He sent $50 at 2:07 a.m. one night with a note toward the thing. Then $100. 2 weeks later with a prayer hands emoji that annoyed me more than it should have. It was nothing and not nothing. My mom came over on a Sunday, looked at the stack of boxes I still hadn't returned, and sighed like a balloon surrendering air. "I don't like how it went," she said, "but I like that you're sleeping." "I like it too," I said. She took a container of leftovers from my fridge when she left, the way moms steal from their kids' pantry and call it balance. I let her. It felt like the right kind of theft. People talk about closure like a clean door shutting. This felt more like a dimmer slowly turning up. The room didn't change. I did. One night around midnight, my phone buzzed. A DM request from a guy I didn't recognize. "Yo, sis, need a card for an emergency. Jake." I blocked him. I brushed my teeth. I turned off the light. He came by 2 months later. No announcement. Just knock, like a neighbor with a package. When I opened the door, he held up a bag from the bakery on the corner. "Don't get excited," he said. "It's day old." "Those are cheaper," I said. We stood awkwardly in my doorway like we'd forgotten which roles to play. There was no TV-sized silence to fill, just a small human one. "I got your letters," he said finally. "I get the money thing now. I don't need you to get it." "I need you to honor it," I said. He nodded. "I'm going to pay the rest." He shifted the bag between hands like it weighed more than bread. "You really left that little camera on the table like I was going to frame you." "I left it for me," I said, "to remember." He laughed once, not sharp. "You cold, 'cause I'm warm to people who treat me like a person." "I'm cold to anyone who treats me like a wallet," I said. He looked at the floor, then up. He opened his mouth. He closed it. He handed me the bag like a white flag. "Tell Tia I stopped by," he said. "Or don't. I'll tell her you returned the scissors," I said. He snorted. "Those were your aunt's sewing scissors. She was mad." We stood there until it felt less like a standoff and more like the end of a long, stupid game. He went down the stairs. I closed the door. I leaned my forehead against the wood and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. On my table sat the last page of the stack I'd left in his living room. I kept it for me. Not because I like paperwork, but because my brain likes proof that I didn't imagine the line I drew. People say family is everything. They forget to add, only when it's reciprocal. The new rule is simple, and I say it out loud in my apartment sometimes just to hear it land. I will not be your emergency plan. I will not light myself on fire to warm anyone else. If you call me saying, "Say goodbye to your money, sis," I will say okay and mean goodbye to the version of me who paid to be loved. That version is gone. I sleep better now. I eat lasagna from neighbors. I return the boxes I don't need. I leave the room when the conversation is a trap. I say yes to things that feed me and no to the rest. And when a knock comes late at night, with a smile and a speech about emergencies, I do not open the door. I stand still. I breathe. I am Ariana. I am not anyone's emergency.